guys, Gio and Blair here from CrossFit Federal Hill. We are going to demo some tips for the assault bike. So we'll start with setting up the correct height and the correct seat adjustment. So Blair's going to line herself up next to the bike, and the seat should be right about at hip level. Another way to check that is when you get on the bike, you look at the leg that's extended down here, and there's just a slight bend in the knee. So you're not overextending like this. Blair's trying to lock out a little bit too much, and you're not up a little bit too high in this kind of crunched up position. So just pressing through with a little bit of flex in the knee. The seat can also slide forward and backwards. There's a knob right under it. Here you want to think of being in a position where your elbow is the same position as your knee. Just a slight flex in there when it's all the way extended and reached forward. If you look to the side here, Blair's at a slight angle leaning forward. All right, I'd say if up and down was 0 degrees, like nice and tall, she's only leaning about 10 to 20 degrees, and that gives you a little bit better drive, pull, and push with your arms. So that's the setup position we want you to try to get in. Second thing we're gonna talk about is pacing on the bike. So Blair's gonna start the bike with a quick aggressive sprint for 5 to 6 seconds and then settle into a pace. And this is what you want to attack if you're going for a minute or longer on the bike. I'll let Blair demo. All right, so that is kind of that jump start we want you to get into. It's gonna be different for everybody. A big, powerful guy is gonna be a lot faster and stronger, but then you're gonna ease into a pace that you can maintain. Wattage, RPM is gonna be different for everybody. We'll talk a little bit more about that in our specific pacing video, but just realize that every time you get on here, it doesn't need to be an all-out sprint, all right? Now, if we are doing an all-out sprint, 10 to 20 seconds on the bike, max cals, maybe that's the purpose of the workout, I want you to think about holding and keeping a good position. And this is really, really important in everything we do, and we want to translate that to the bike. So let's say Blair's going to go for 10 seconds, all out, it's part of the workout, fast as she can go. She's going to demo kind of like a flailing elbow and head down, bad position, something that we see a fair amount of when we go for these big sprints. Awesome, love that demonstration because it really does not look that bad, right? Her head's just down, her elbow's coming out slightly, probably how a lot of people might look, especially if it's the 3rd or 4th round. But let's think about relating this to a sprinter. If you've ever seen an elite sprinter, they're never kind of head down, flailing their arms back and forth. They're always kind of in a nice upright position, leaning slightly forward and trying to drive and be the most efficient with their position. So now Blair will demonstrate a sprint, staying efficient with a nice upright position. Awesome. So very slight difference, right? Her head's up, so she's kind of opening up her breathing pathway, and her elbows are not going out, they're going backward and forward, so she's driving and pulling with each repetition. And then obviously we can't really demo much with the legs, but she's pushing and pulling at every chance she gets with the pedal. Important things we want to drive home here is that there is pacing on the bike, so think about that when you start. You always want to jump with that kick start, and then we want to drive home the position. Head up, elbows in, and driving with your arms and pushing through with your legs. Stay tuned for video number 2, where we dive into pacing a little bit more.